and it keeps on coming. Halifax Wanderers 3, Valour FC nil at Wanderers grounds. The first half of the game, while there weren't any goals, wasn't exactly boring. It's just that the performance was mainly defensive by both teams. But even then, we had most of the ball. Yeah, most of the ball. We had pretty much all the XG. We had more goal attempts, shots on goal, and the like. We forced. There were three good, decent saves Yesley made. He's definitely an all right goalkeeper. But we were definitely on the front foot, even when we were struggling to score. The struggling to score stopped in the second half when Nimick nails a set piece off of a Timoteo corner to put it right past Yesley, taking him for a fool and getting 1-0. Valour did the right thing, stage hooking Samakiov. He was cooked all that half, much like Peruzza, but to a lesser. Although Peruzza wasn't nearly as cooked as Samake. Valour were getting a bit chippy. They, as shown by the abundance of, they had 3 yellow cards to our 1, and in terms of fouls, well, okay, fouls were had a little bit more of that, but they were definitely made desperate. And then we started scoring. Nimick, 49th minute. Yeah, things 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 just kept going with Valour struggling to equalize and us keeping the pace up pretty well. Unfortunately, with the occasional free kick given in a funny area, but we defend set pieces well enough that we weren't punished for it. Nimick was great. I loved Nimick, even when he had that hiccup that gave the ball away in a funny area. We weren't punished for that, and basically every other move he made was solid. Uh, yeah, let's see. They put in Pacific Nyangabire for Sanchez. If I remember correctly, that was a forced sub. Sanchez was in bad shape. We responded with our first 3 subs, and with our first 2 subs, Morelli and Coimbra. Oh, right. We need to get under 21 minutes. That's right. Let's put Coimbra in. And by the way, let's hook Jordan Peruzza because he'd been struggling all game. We should have hooked him at halftime. He wasn't feeling at all. I mean, well, he was up for it, but he wasn't up to it. And while we're at it, let's the 70th minute, Watson to create a few good chances, but nothing. But that was but nothing really was super significant. When for Doniel Henry in what looked like a defensive substitution. Ironically enough, that's when the real damage started getting done. Joao Morelli got an amazing one off of Lorenzo Caligari to make it 2-0. Rampersad came onto the pitch to celebrate. He got a yellow. Morelli took his top off, got a yellow. If you're going to get booked, make it count, and they both did. I enjoyed that. I believe there was something about Yesley making an ass of himself with the ball boy, and Philly and Ramps calling him out on that. That was amusing. Gutierrez got into it a bit much, got a yellow. Near the end, we tried to put the game out of sight, even though it didn't look like we were even going to draw. We figured we may as well make it extra happen. We brought in our other most frequent U21, Tomas Geraldo. And in only 2 minutes, he got it in there via an assist from Joao Morelli. And he decided to take a page from Morelli and take his top off and accept his booking with pride, secure in the knowledge that we'd put the game out of sight and that we had created a lot of cushion for in the playoff zones. Even with York winning, we managed to match their result. And the two teams below us. Let me look at the standings. Forge and York United. They've played an extra game. Forge are tied with us on points and trail on points and wins and trail on goal difference. They're fifth. York United also having played an extra game are 29. So it looks like York are high on our heels. They're not quite as hot as one would expect. Our away form is still as iffy as ever, mostly made of draws. Our home form is second in the league, trailing only Cavalry. Cavalry lead the table with 36 points. It's a four-way tie on points between Pacific, Atleti, Ottawa, us, and Forge, 32, with the main thing being wins. 9 wins for Pacific and Atleti, Ottawa, and 8 wins for HFX Wanderers and Forge. Things are looking good on the East Coast. And things are not looking so good for Valour. They could still make the playoffs, but they would have to run an absolute tier in order to do so. And I'm not entirely sure, and I'm not saying this to gloat. I'm not saying this to dunk on them because we won decisively. I'm honestly saying this because them and Vancouver look pretty much adrift. But even they could theoretically get it to any point in the table if they ran an absolute tier in their remaining fixtures. That the table is pretty tight. And even where it isn't tight, things are still somewhat achievable, at least in theory. There was this one jackass who had a Barstool quote on a flag somewhere. You're not. I know a lot of people aren't going to see it. I don't think I would have seen it because I wouldn't have looked to the far side if I was at the grounds, most likely. But if you do see something, say something. If you don't see something, well, okay, I won't hold it against you because I mean you're mainly looking at the pitch, right? But yeah, Barstool are basically what if far right nonsense and absolute dirt dirtbag stereotypical male nonsense, but also a little bit of sports. Barstool are a disgrace. And that was something that Becca B, a follower of us on Twitter, and also on the Discord as Soccer Mama, had brought to my attention. I didn't catch it either when I saw it when I was taking notes. Yeah, anyhow, our next game is against York at home. We owe them big time for the last time we faced York at home, and we intend to pay it in full. Come on, you Wanderers.